What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James, shoot.com. Robert Rodriguez.
Not James Cameron, but written by James Cameron, the master.
Teaming up with James Cameron.
The master of film.
For one of your most anticipated movies of 2019.
Been waiting for this film, bro, for like freaking 15 years.
And why is that?
Because after Titanic, after all the negativity from all the people being like, you know, James Cameron's gonna be done, you know, he got lucky with Aliens and T2 and all that. Then Titanic came out, whoosh, slapped everybody, and he said the next movie I'm gonna be working on is this anime that I'm excited about called Alita Angel, or Battle Angel, whatever the anime is called. And so I didn't know anything about it, obviously, and I still hadn't seen the
Which is
cartoon.
interesting, because I would have expected you to have been like, well, I read that, you know.
I only Googled it.
Yeah, but it was because you're loving James Cameron, you want to watch it.
It wasn't as easy to watch pirated stuff.
Yeah.
Back then. Just being honest. I'm just being honest. Yeah, so and then ever since then, and then you always heard it come up, you know. Cameron's like, we're gonna get to it, and then Avatar. After Avatar, we're gonna do it, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Avatars. So that ain't never gonna happen.
He's really good at being like, I swear, one day this is coming.
It did happen.
It's like his favorite quote. Yeah, it did. It eventually did.
Written and produced.
Yeah, you got a big name. Then you have Robert Rodriguez, who, you know, in hindsight, you just never would expect James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez to kind of team up. They're both very different in their style and things like that. And, you know, coming together here in this movie, it was very intriguing to see. So, a movie you've been waiting for I don't know how long, but I feel like you're bringing it up all the time. It's finally here. What did you think of Alita Battle Angel? Honestly,
I loved it. I thought it was so much fun, bro. And so I guess we'll get started. First off, the visuals.
Yes.
Amazing. A lot of people were turned off when they first saw the first teaser and they saw Rosa Salazar's eyes. They're like, oh my gosh, da da da, you know. And then for me, anyways, the entire movie, I was never like it looked bad or anything. I thought it looked great.
You're not loyal to an original.
Say again?
You're not like loyal to an original look. You were just enjoying how the visuals appeared.
Yeah. However they're gonna give it to us.
Yeah.
But there's like Wonder Woman, one of my favorites. You know, favorite movies of that year, or whatever that was, 16 or 15, 16. It was 16. It looked good, but then all of a sudden she picks up the tank at the end, and I was just like, oh! I was like, no, it looked bad.
Yeah, it does.
And then Justice League Steppenwolf looks horrible. You know, so a movie like this where you're basically the whole thing is James Cameron style Avatar, you know, it's like, it could have been scary. But the visuals I thought looked amazing. I thought it looked great. The world building that they built, love it. This dystopian type of world is over and life sucks and just kill yourself type of a world. I thought it looked awesome, you know, and the whole idea of this heavenish thing on top floating, whatever that is, you know, that could have been cool. That already was cool. I enjoyed that. And then the story, they had that little love aspect, you know, so you're already winning me points by points, you know, you're giving me good sci-fi. I love sci-fi, bro. You know, so you give me sci-fi, dong, you got the points. And then you give me a love story, dong,
you know you love the love story.
So yeah, I really, overall, I just really, for sure, best movie of the year, which means
especially
nothing.
Especially a James Cameron love story.
You know, and this was very much a James Cameron story too. Very much a James Cameron type of feel. So you could really tell that, yeah, he had his paw prints on it. It would have been interesting to see if he would have been able to direct it, you know, and what kind of differences there would have been. You know, I'm sure the world would have looked the same and stuff like that. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but I think James Cameron obviously produced and wrote the story, but the same technology for Avatar 2 was given to Robert Rodriguez to use for this film and movie. Do all that. So overall, I definitely highly recommend the movie. I thought it was awesome. The music was great, suspenseful, a lot of fun. Loved it.
I definitely agree with you on the visuals. I mean, I think there were multiple times in the movie where I was just like so enthralled by everything that we were looking at and like kind of getting into. There's a few action sequences in particular that I thought were just really strong and really engaging. You know, and the entire time, like you said, it didn't feel like a James Cameron movie, but you definitely felt the paw prints of James Cameron.
Yeah?
There were definitely moments where you were just like, oh, that's such, like, this is, yeah, okay, so this is, you know what Cameron did and where probably Rodriguez took his liberties. But I will say, like, I didn't love it like you did. I don't think it was bad, and I don't think it's a movie that I would tell people not to see, but I don't think that I loved it. I think
was it better than you thought?
Yes. I honestly was kind of expecting to be disappointed, and while I'm not disappointed, I'm not in love. But I thought it was fine. You know, I think there is definitely reason to see it, especially being able to experience in like the Dolby if you're local here and see it in such you know, the best looking quality it can be. Visually, I think the movie's stunning, and I think there are some really great action beats in the movie, some fun action. But I do think maybe at times it feels stretched a bit thin, and I just think the story doesn't hold the water of the world that we're in. You know, I think there were some times where we're really engaged in a scene and things feel really tense, then the next scene it just kind of loses all of that steam and it kind of resorts itself to some generic storylines that just kind of feel pushed in. And then I felt towards the end especially that we were really riding the ending, you know, kind of in the Equalizer fashion of giving us 2 or 3, 4 different endings. We were just like, all right, come on. But not a bad movie by any means. Favorite part
of this movie? Probably rollerball. I don't know. Do you know I rollerblade?
No.
Yeah, I saw it. That's all I used to do for like a decade and a half was just rollerblade, and so I was just I loved. I don't know. It was so much fun. And then I was telling Dallas too in Harry Potter the
Quidditch.
Quidditch. When I first saw that too, I was like, wow, what it would be like to ride a broomstick and play the football idea.
Yeah.
And then I thought. This was also awesome. The fighting scenes, like you mentioned too. There's a lot of good fighting scenes.
Honestly, my favorite fighting scene was a fighting scene that I saw at CinemaCon.
Which one?
It was the one where she jumps down from the bar.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, and that scene didn't look nearly as good, or it didn't look nearly as good when I saw it at CinemaCon. Still was like, okay, but they clipped it in a way that they missed a lot of really integral action like beats, and those beats are what make it so exciting. That was probably one of my favorite scenes, just the level of intensity. You know, you get a lot of emotion from Alita at this point. She's really going through this change as far as her arc, and the action beat is great. Like, that was the one thing that I would say when there's an action beat and Alita kind of, even you know, when we're first kind of introduced to her ability, you know, with Christoph Waltz in that scene in that alleyway where it seems,
fun,
you know, I mean, that's a great scene, and it's a great way to really kind of bring you to that world. But I think it brings you in only to kind of push you out a little bit too many times.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali didn't have much at all. In fact, it wasn't really him.
Like, in that sense, that's where the movie kind of feels very generic. It's in this high play, very dystopian future like we've seen so many times, and maybe Alita was one who did it earlier in anime and earlier in the world of comics. But again, it just feels like we've been here and kind of done that, where there's the guy watching over everyone. He's rich. He's in this very specific place where all the peasants get. That's where I think the movie starts kind of feeling a bit weak.
Hey, how come Jennifer Connelly?
And Hugo was like the PETA of the story.
Yeah. What about Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly, who, you know, anyone who grew up in the 80s loved Jennifer Connelly.
That woman don't age.
And she still looks great for being, I don't even want to guess her age, but she looks beautiful. There's no reason to, because she looks that beautiful. But again, not much chops really with her to have anything to do. Christoph Waltz has a few good moments in the movie. I mean, I think he's good in almost anything that he does. But yeah, not really a movie where you're like really hanging on performances. I think Hugo, who plays an integral part of this movie, is, because, you know, with those similarities, I kept thinking back at some of the dystopian future movies that we've seen, and one of the problems being is they could just never find a really charismatic, you know, teenage actor who's kind of taken on this world. And I thought Hugo was good at some parts, but I also thought he was equally as bad in others. I think there's a really integral part in the movie towards the end where his performance isn't very good. But again, nothing to like. I mean, that's just kind of going down to the real nitpicking things. I think overall, I think it works. Just probably stays a tad too long. It could have trimmed a little bit of fat. 2 hours and 2 minutes, but it definitely feels longer than that.
I didn't think so. I loved it. I gotta watch it at least 1 or 2 more times.
I'll believe when I see it. I want to see if this movie settles with you like it does. We'll see.
All right. We also are. No, that's the only review.
Yes, only review tonight.
It's the only review we're doing.
I'm still sick. I'm recovering. Bear with us.
Next week, though.
Yes.
There's another movie premiere.
Yep. And Fighting with My Family, the movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, and Dwayne Johnson telling the story about Paige.
Wait, I thought you didn't watch.
That opens up in a lot of markets today, but it will be opening here in Vegas next Thursday. The first showings will be at 7 o'clock, so that'll be opening. And then, of course, How to Train Your Dragon 3, one of my favorite animated trilogies, one of my favorite trilogies in general. I really love these 2 films. We'll be watching it here
Will
next
it be one of the best trilogies, animated or not, of all time?
You know, honestly, like, I think How to Train Your Dragon is really probably the strongest thing to come out of the DreamWorks canon. I think that, you know, everything was really growing with Pixar at this time, and you know, we were getting like Shrek from DreamWorks, and we were getting like the more G Nickelodeon type farting humor, you know, we were getting out of Shrek and things like that, and that series always did very well. And then we got Kung Fu Panda, which was silly and fun and not on that level of Disney, but had potential, and I really started enjoying it. And this is the order that I saw, not necessarily the order that came out. And then I saw How to Train Your Dragon, and I loved that movie, and I just thought it was so great. The sequels for both of those movies came out, and I thought they were also equally great. Like, you know, really growing the story, really showing what the potential of DreamWorks' story telling could be. And now the third Kung Fu Panda I loved, and even going into the fourth, and now we have this one. I am hoping that it is everything that I want it to be, because I really fell in love with these characters, and I want to see a great end.
Close it up and make it one of the best trilogies. Let's go.
I really hope so. I mean, the tease that we got at CinemaCon just looks so good and so beautiful, and it wasn't even anywhere close to being done, so I'm really pumped up for that.
Let's go. Chances comes down as
the Film Lovers website.